Hi, welcome to AFTV. I've got Robbie with me. We've just lost 2-1 to Bournemouth here at the Emirates. Rob, there's actually a lot to dissect. I've watched and listened to some of the people you've interviewed. I've seen you play the other side.
So you watched it again. I was going to say, I wouldn't watch that again.
Can't put myself through that again. But I've listened to you play the other side on some of the questions with the fans you've spoken with. So I want to dissect, because right now it feels like, yes, everyone's holding on to Wednesday, but slowly you're seeing a season where Tottenham or Man United can win a trophy, Chelsea can pick up a trophy, City can pick up a trophy, Newcastle already got a trophy, Liverpool already got a trophy. We might end up with nothing. Does that, compound all the things that you have off watching this performance? Because it's that performance today wasn't good enough.
No, we haven't been good enough at home this season, I don't think. I think Lee said it earlier. Our home performances they've just been, we get by.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was talking to my brother earlier on today, and we were saying that, what do we need to do? We were talking about what do we need to do for next season. We're already sort of thinking about that, right? And obviously, I know. Listen, we all know we need a striker.
Yeah.
But also, I do feel that, especially at home, I think away our style of play works. But I think at home, our style of play lacks something, right? We lack that killer instinct with the striker, but then we also lack that attacking intent. It's way too just keep the ball, you know what I mean? Like,
is there any blame on us as fans? As in, like, Arteta always goes on about energy and all that.
It's got nothing to do with the fans. I'm talking about the way we play at home. We lack that sort of killer instinct, right? We've led most of these games that we've drawn. We've been in the lead.
It's 9.
And then we've just been knocking it about, right? And I think that's the difference between us and Liverpool. So they'll go ahead and then they're looking to kill you. Yeah. They're going like they're coming again for the second, the third, the fourth. You know what I mean? We'll go ahead. It's all about control. Let's just control. Look to see if we can make another opening to get a goal. And it ain't worked this season. It works away from home very well. But at home, I don't think it works. And that's why too many games at home we draw. Too many times we let teams off the hook. You saw it today, and we should have scored a second goal in that game. We had chances. Yeah. We had moments where get a shot off, test the keeper, but it's not. Someone pulls it back, looks to pass it out. It's all about control. And I think next season that needs to be seriously looked at, because you're not going to win a league by doing that. You know what I mean? It has to be, at home has to be the place where you're more attacking, shackles are off. Yeah. You know what I mean? You're going for a team. You're gunning for a team.
It's supposed to be a fortress at home,
right?
But people come here and
it's not exactly. Listen, nobody really comes here and sort of bops us off the park, right? Because we're a very well organised team and that. But as I said, we don't kill teams. Yeah, I mean, the only game I've seen us really, what was it? City
5-1.
City. You know what I mean? Because the intensity was right up.
And there was a needle to that game.
But I just feel that, you know what I mean? I want to see that there needs to be a change next season in that, because that's why at home I feel that we're letting teams off the hook. It's just too organised. I mean,
it's bad.
Controlled. You know what I mean? And
you saw that. You
saw that today in abundance. And when you add into that today, that second half, there was zero intensity. There were players just coasting through that game. We're 1-0 up. Let me just manage myself now because it's all on Wednesday. They obviously had their eye on Wednesday. You could see it. You could see players sort of go to press but then back off. Yep. You could see players not going in for tackles. I'm sorry, the intensity in that second half weren't there. You know what I mean? Like, I think he should have made them changes I would have made them way sooner, and just like got some of those players off, like Saka.
Why is he starting them? Why is he starting? If their mindset, Rob, is going into that game and they're going to pull out challenges and save themselves on Wednesday, why start all those players? Why not rotate?
No, because I think he's trying to win the game. Because I think you win the game today. If Chelsea lost tomorrow, top four's guaranteed, and then you don't have to worry about. You can put this to one side. That means if you do go through against PSG, if you want to rest players, rest whoever you want. It doesn't matter whether you finish second or whether you finish fifth. It doesn't matter, right? As long as you get into those top 5 places. But now, because we haven't won it, that's still a worry at the back of your head. There is a possibility still that you couldn't make that top 5. Luckily we've still got a Southampton to play at the end of the season.
Yeah, but City have Southampton next week, and they're 3 points behind us.
I think that's why he went strong today. But sorry, they were not going for it in that second half. That weren't listen, when you're losing a game, teams will show way more intensity. There's players just managing themselves around the pitch. Partey was managing himself around. So were the players up front. You know what I mean? You know, the Ben White had a shocker today as well. You know, he had a shocker. So it was a very, very, very disappointing performance. But it'll mean nothing if we win on Wednesday.
That's what everyone's saying. Everyone's looking at the Wednesday game. You're right to mention about from winning positions. I mean, I actually believe the stat, if they'll correct me if I'm wrong, was nine times now.
That's absolutely shocking, isn't it? Like, nine, you know, and the amount of draws we've had at home and that. And, crazy. You know, you just see it, as I said, a lot of controlling games. And you just see teams start to say to themselves, well, you know what? Let's just have a go now. We've got nothing to lose. We're losing already. Let's have a go. And then a lot of times they get away with a draw. And then today they've gotten away with a win. And we switched off today as well. Lack of concentration. 2 set-piece goals. 1 a long throw right into the box. Come on. What sort of defending is that? And then the second one, again, it was a bit of a mix-up in the box. I thought it looked like handball to me at first.
It was. It came off Evanilsson's elbow. However, Odegaard's seen him late and pull him to the ground, so it's like it's a natural position. But he's got his hold of him, so it just.
I always thought if he touches your hand anyway, I don't know. When the angle I was at, I said to Julian Strait, who sat next to me, I said to him, "That's handball." So even when I was checking for offside, I was like, "Oh, okay," but I thought it was looked more handball to me. But listen, it is what it is. It was still poor defending.
Are you getting frustrated with the manager? Because the subs were they were late. PSG before as well. They're not making subs. PSG are making subs to go on and win the game. Bournemouth today made subs. Semenyo came on. They're going to win it. We're at home.
Listen, I think there's a big difference. The big difference is I am frustrated that he didn't make the subs earlier. I would have just made the changes and just when I saw how they were playing in the second half, I would have made the changes. I would have said, boy, you know what? If we don't win, we don't win, right? But also, where I do sympathise with him a bit is that there ain't no options there. When people are talking, they can bring on Semenyo. Who are we bringing on like that?
But Ethan's there.
That's one guy.
Mikel Merino could have come on earlier. Like, there's players. I know it's not loads, but he has.
There's Mikel Merino. Someone said it earlier. Why didn't he start? He had a knock, remember, just before that PSG game.
Could have come on earlier, though.
Right? If he's got a knock, don't risk it. You don't have to risk him. To me, you don't risk a player who's got a knock ahead of your biggest game in probably a decade, right? So I get it, right? And then I look at the bench that's got pure kids on it. He's got no options there. I mean, you can't pull a Jesus or a Havertz or all these. They're all injured. So I get. You know, and then you've got Sterling, as I said. He's been so poor this season. He's more likely to come on and lose the ball, right? And you know, so that's why he didn't make them changes the other night.
Could he have brought the kids on? Because if the players, like I said, are not going full into tackles.
Maybe he should.
I know it's after the fact, but I'm saying like players are pulling out of challenges. They're half. You bring on kids that are going to want to fight and make a name.
In hindsight, maybe he shouldn't have gone so strong. Maybe he should have started more of those kids today. But listen, Bournemouth are a good side as well. They ain't no joke, Bournemouth, you know what I mean? Like, they should have beaten United last week, you know, until they wrongly went down to 10 men. They went away to Newcastle and won. They ain't no joke. They're a good side. So that's probably why he's also looked on it and said, I've got to go fairly strong, because you don't also want to come and put out a very weakened side and you lose 4-5 against a team like Bournemouth. So I get it. Your eyes are on Wednesday, but now the pressure's on.
Well, let's
got to do something on Wednesday.
Let's end by talking about that then, because me and you, listen, we can be optimistic. We believe in the team. We have a good team. Football's a funny game. We spoke about all this off camera. You never know. Champions League will be different. It'll be a different energy.
It's totally different.
But, Rob, after watching that, and I know we can kind of separate. I know you do this a lot. You separate games from games, but PSG just lost in the league, but they heavily rotated.
Yeah, but
they're going to be completely different.
Let me give you an example why this game doesn't completely matter to me, right?
Oh, okay.
PSG last week, ahead of our game, they played their strongest team.
Against Nice, yeah.
They were playing against Nice, a team they don't like. They've got a big rivalry with, right? And they were going for an invincible season. They've already won the league, but they're trying to go the whole season invincible, right? And they lost 3-1, right? And then look what they turned up, and look what they did to us, right? So it don't matter really. It was all on Wednesday. They got to leave absolutely everything on that pitch. Every single one of those players have to have their A game on Wednesday. None of us will care about Bournemouth. if we win on Wednesday. Absolutely not, because when we beat Real Madrid, nobody cared about the draw against Palace. I didn't hear anybody on that night on Tuesday when I was interviewing fans. I never heard nobody say, "Oh yeah, but the Palace game." No one said. No one will care. It's all on Wednesday. They got to leave everything there. That game is so big. And that is a game.
Do you see it happening?
Why not? It can happen. Of course it can. Of course it can.
We can go there.
It can happen. But do you see? I mean,
me and you were here with the women played, right? Right.
Yeah, fair. But
I see Leon bop the women off the park here, and I was like, boy. I said to my daughter when we were for the second leg, I said they won't beat Leon. They're a way better team than us. The only thing is, right? And then in the second leg. They went there, absolutely destroyed them. As soon as they got that second goal over there, you saw the Lyon players, they lost belief. Yeah. So, of course, it's possible. We've seen PSG before. Stu said it, innit? Yeah, the other day. Even Villa, went out of them.
There was a moment, yeah.
Liverpool went over there and won. Yeah. It's not impossible. We're not, people, listen, we can. But we have to be on top form, and to be fair, up until the other night, this team have been delivering in the Champions League. They have. We've seen it all season. They've been playing better in the Champions League than they've been in the league.
100%.
Right? And they've been doing well away in the Champions League. So they've got to go there and put in a performance. They can't do what they did against Newcastle, that second leg. This is big. So they can, and let's pray that they will.
We do that. We will.
We've teamed up with UK Auto Claims to see if you could be eligible to claim thousands in compensation. If you've had any cars, vans or motorbikes on finance between 2007 and 2021, well, just click the link below and start your simple free check.